Here we are discussing the latest developments as far as the Attorney General is concerned. Mr. Duboahene, together with his wife and a few others implicated. And we're going to look at the general issue of corruption and how it's being dealt with by the National Democratic Congress's government. But joining us for a conversation on that, we have Ekow Assafuah. He is legislator for Old Tafo. And we also have Dr. Samuel Aye. He is with the NDC's communications team. Both of them join the conversation. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
He's a government spokesperson. That's how this world can change. Just about 3 or 4 months ago, he was a communicator of the NDC. Now, when you see his title is government spokesperson, he's a big man.
You would happen to know about titles. Tell me more.
He's a big man.
Yeah.
He's a big man.
You also moved from PRO at a point of the education ministry.
Yes,
Then you became a legislator, became a deputy minister. Your title don't change, you know me so.
I was just asking him, have you found some job for you? So the new job that he's gotten is the government spokesperson. I mean, that's a big job, you know.
Right. Anyway, gentlemen, so let's take an initial look at how this government has started tackling. They said they would ensure accountability and not just putting people in prison. No, it was also about retrieving funds and ensuring that if something had to go back into the state's kitty for development, it would. So far, Vincent, from what you've seen, and the minority has had a lot to say in Parliament. The last time we heard the Wejagbawe legislator, Shoaib, speaking to the issues. What do you make of these developments generally? We are not coming to specifics yet, generally.
Well, let me say a very good morning to you once again, to my brother and to your cherished viewers. I must say that corruption is a canker across the globe and that will need to be dealt with by every state. And if a particular party decides to deal with canker corruption, normally it gets the support of the general populace. I support every strategy. I support every path to be able to deal with corruption in this country, especially when the resources that could have been used for other developmental projects is siphoned into personal pockets and personal accounts. And so on that basis, I support it. Having said so, my belief is that we are a country of laws, a country that believes in rule of law. The same constitution or the same laws that is giving you the mandate to be able to fight corruption is the same law that is also giving you the route, the path to be able to deal with corruption. And so you cannot appropriate and reprobate. You cannot say that I'm doing cherry picking. I have taken an aspect of the constitution or an aspect of the law, but the other one, I will not take it. And so if you want to deal with corruption, my problem generally from January till date is that it seems the NDC and the current government is bent on dealing with corruption, which we support. But there's a bit of a lacuna. The lacuna is where procedurally the strategy and the processes that they've been using is jaundiced in a point that they seem to be doing things anyhow. It started with how this oral was even formed. At the point we had the leader of oral saying that oral will end at a point. On another platform, you also heard him say that oral is going to be in perpetuity. It is going to be there forever. I have 2 videos of him saying 2 different things at the same time, on the same day. One was on TV3, the other one was on Newsfile, the same day on Saturday. And so clearly you could see that they just want to use corruption as a tag to hang a particular political party. I don't think that should be the way to go. I would want to urge them that fighting corruption will have the support of every Ghanaian, especially young people in this country. Today, the budget that was read in Parliament is telling us that employment has been freezed. If employment is freezed, it should tell you that there's a problem. It is because of the difficulties that we find ourselves as a state. And corruption is one of them. And it is on that basis that we are facing the challenges that we are facing today. So we support every call to be able to deal with corruption. But procedurally, it should be done right.
All right. Later, we'll get into the procedural processes that you say are jaundiced. But I posit that if oral, whether it was meant to end at a certain point or continue, if corruption is being dealt with, doesn't matter.
Well, the point is that
there was no law that said oral must end at this point, or if people said some things and now it has to continue so that Ghana will benefit, doesn't really matter.
No, you see, at the point, we believe that there were state institutions that were supposed to be dealing with these matters. Today, the AG is now relying on Ekow. We have special prosecutor. We have always insisted that please make sure that your state institutions that are supposed to be dealing with corruption is given the necessary tools, is giving the necessary support to be able to deal with it. I don't think that there was a need for oral. Oral could have been surreptitiously done without necessarily mentioning it, so that they support the work of the state institutions like Ekow, like the AG itself, like the special prosecutor, and all the other institutions that deal with crime or if you like corruption in this country.
All right. My final bit to you for now, though her issue is not on the chopping board today, I cannot help it because Pankrono is part of your constituency. So Cecilia Dapaah, she's been in court, and her lawyers for the accused persons are talking about the fact that some of the jewelry that she reported as stolen were actually jewelry belonging, the claim was that they belonged to the Otumfuo Oseitu, the second, and that's the first actually, not the second, the first, and that they had been returned to the Manchia Palace following relentless pressure from the people of Pankrono. Since you represent those people, that's why I'm bringing up this issue. But then the thinking is that the very same jewelry that supposedly has been returned is the jewelry that the claim is made that has been stolen, and then her brother, the sub-chief, and all of that will come in. What's your reflection on this issue?
Well, I'll have a very simple thing to say on this. Yesterday, when I saw the flyer, she's like a mother to me. I sent it to her. The first thing I heard her say was, "You know, Vincent, this is just untrue. Yeah, one of the lawyers is just trying to peddle falsehood against her and all that." So from her.
But you know, in a court of law, just like in Parliament, there are records of what is said.
According to her, and I will only take her word for now because, of course, you have to listen to the other side. Has been an allegation. The other side, or the one that the issue is about, is telling us that it is not true. It is falsehood. It is something that cannot have any basis or whatsoever. So he tells me that, my son, what you are saying or what the lawyer is saying has no basis. It is unfounded. It cannot be used anywhere. He doesn't even see how these things should even come to the public domain. So my point is that from what she is telling me, which I have no doubt to be able to take what she's told me, that what the lawyer is saying is nothing to write home about. It has no basis. It is unfounded, and it cannot be used anywhere, whether in the court of law or whatsoever.
I see. Let me come to you, Dr. Aye. Procedural processes that are jaundiced, oral, you said it would end at a point, it's continuing, and all of these processes. But what are your reflections on what your administration has done so far?
Thank you very much. Good morning to yourself, my co-panelist, the Honorable Sedinam Tamakloe, Esquire, and our viewers watching us this morning.
I'd appreciate it if you could speak up just a little more.
Yes, surprisingly, in my formative years, I lived in a town found within Honorable's constituency, Pankrono Abed. So you even know, so in fact, the school
I'm hearing this for the first time.
My basic school I completed is actually found in the constituency.
Which school is that? Oh, okay.
Happy to be here this morning. I think that the NDCs or the government pursuit to clamp down on corruption is one that has received a lot of plaudits from the people of Ghana. My senior brother here says that why did we form oral? Because there's already Ekow, there's already the Attorney General Department. But they are the government that formed special prosecutor. Before the inception of special prosecutor, there was already Ekow. There was already the Attorney General Department. And so we must be consistent in our submissions. We cannot approbate and reprobate. You cannot commend the MPP government at the time for setting up special prosecutor and deride the NDC government for forming ORAL. The point is clear. ORAL is just a fact-finding entity. It was to bring or to bridge the gap between the people of Ghana and anti-corruption and law enforcement agencies. That was what it is and nothing more. We are the situation where in this country, there are people who will not be able to man up to Attorney General Department or the Ghana Police Service to make an official complaint. And so it was the agenda of the John Mahama leadership in opposition to say that we will set up the Operation Recover All Loot Committee to take information for the people of Ghana. We are the situation where their contact numbers were provided, their emails were provided, their offices where they will be operating were provided, so that people can easily, in a friendly manner, in a patriotic manner, walk to them and give them every information that they need to prosecute a matter. Since the inception of this regime, the MPP has waged a consistent war of attrition on ORA to reduce the mojo of the members of the ORA and to demoralize them. But I have a simple message for them. The John Mahama administration, we are unfazed, we are not perturbed, we are focused to deliver on the mandate that the people of Ghana have given us. Look, the way corruption and loot has permeated in our system, especially within the last 8 years, the people of Ghana will not forgive the NDC administration if we do not clamp down, we do not exact accountability to significant members of the previous administration who openly engage in acts of corruption that are beyond doubt, that are suspicious, and you do not need rocket science knowledge to know or to unravel that there is some corruption or corruption-related activities in their conduct. And so ORAL has come to stay. The ORAL committee presented their report to the president. I was in that meeting when that report was presented. You understand the point I'm making? Where over 2,000 complaints were made. Some of those complaints are being, taken care of by the Attorney General. In fact, only a few days ago, the Deputy Attorney General made it clear that early next month, all manner of, prosecutions will begin to bring judgment and justice for the people of Ghana as far as their meager resources are concerned. So we will not allow members of the minority to run down ORAL. Especially look at what happened in the SMLD. Look at what happened in the National Cathedral.
In the specifics, when you go to court, we'll get the details.
Yes.
There. But they are saying, and Vincent Assafuah was mentioning, procedurally, they feel some things are not being done as they ought to be done. The entry into Dr. Addison's house, for example, and we'll come to Edubwai, was seen to be a raid, was classified as a raid. And in fact, many media entities also classified it as a raid. We've heard Justice Remsai come and talk about the fact that this was sanctioned, there was a warrant and all of that. But the modus operandi, if you have the information, what is Richard Dapaah doing in all of this? What role exactly is Richard Dapaah playing when he goes to houses and he's leading the charge? What is his locus?
You see, I told you that there is an agenda by the MPP to reduce people's mojo and people's morale.
Does Richard Dapaah go to these places?
Is the director of operations of the national security, which is beyond doubt.
At the time that he went,
it is on record, beyond doubt.
He's asking you a question. At the time he went to Kenoforiata's residence, did he have that portfolio?
Hold on. National security, unfortunately, does not have a public relations outfit. You do not expect Richard Dapaah to come and post his appointment letter on Facebook for people to know that he's the director of operations. If he was not clothed with the power to do that, he wouldn't have done that.
But you've made a lot of appointments and all of that. How come? I mean, I'm yet to see.
How many appointments have you seen?
I'm yet to see the one in specific reference to Richard Dapaah. That's all I'm asking.
So when Ken Ofori-Atta actually issued a writ, did you notice that the person that he is accusing to have trespassed his private premises, Richard Dapaah's name is not part? Why is his name not part? Because he was carrying out his constitutionally mandated responsibility as a national security. So
you're saying that as of the time they went to the residence of Ken Ofori-Atta, Richard Dapaah,
he was a direct. Exactly, there's no doubt about it. Right. So it is a narrative that the members of the opposition are spinning to create public, support and sympathy that they are being harassed. Nobody is being harassed. In fact, yesterday the Attorney General alluded to the fact that the noise that the opposition is making, if they do not take care, there is a recording where Addison actually made, Dr. Ernest Addison actually made some statements which will actually dismiss all the claim that the Honorable Minority Leader, Lawyer Alexander Afenyo-Markin, is making. And so the point must be made clear that nobody is being harassed. All these operations have been carried out within the remits of the law without, disrespecting or infringing on the fundamental human rights of some individuals. So the point must be made clear that the national security operations that are being carried out are legally sanctioned and no human rights have been abused. It must be made very clear strenuously.
Clarify for me, and maybe Justice Remsai may have to do that, but he made mention of the fact that parliamentary privileges may be getting abused because he says the minority leader is spinning, like you are saying, and that maybe they will look at certain provisions. Does that mean you are going to, what are you going to do about that? Would that be tantamount to muzzling?
I think that personally, the Attorney General Department will have that locus to discuss this matter. But the point must be made that we cannot hide behind parliamentary immunity and completely disrespect and run down state institutions or persons who carry out operations on behalf of the state. The Honorable Afenyo-Markin knew that he was in the presence of Parliament, and so he will be insulated from, a defamatory suit. But to be very honest, in fact, he described Richard Dapaah in a very derogatory terms. Somebody going about or carrying himself as a national security operative. Meanwhile, the man is a national security operative. You understand the point? Pound for pound, he also has the same credentials, if not more, than the Honorable Minority Leader. So on what basis do we describe a national security operative and national security operations as a hungry NDC foot soldier? I don't think that is fair to how government.
Those terminologies would not be fair.
Definitely would not be fair.
But let's get some details here. Clarify for me, Vincent. Is Kwabena Edubuahene the son of Professor Edubuahene? The Professor Edubuahene, MPP presidential candidate in 1992, renowned historian, someone I actually respect a lot. Is he his son?
Per the information I got, he is not.
He is not.
But even before.
No. I just wanted that clarity.
I just wanted to respond to one or two things that he said, just to put matters into proper perspective. One, you cannot compare apples with oranges. Why am I saying so? You cannot say that MPP also introduced special prosecutor. We gave a legal backing to that institution before it started work. Oral had no legal backing whatsoever. It was just a presidential announcement from the spokesperson of the president at the time. And so it cannot be the same. There are two different things altogether. Secondly, I have personally...
But the same, I think the linkage has to do with the conversations. If people talk about, oral, we have, you mentioned, we have Iyoko, and I think that is where the nexus is. Hold for me. You said that, why oral? Because we have Iyoko and all of these, and now they are helping out. Yes. That was the same conversation that came up when the special prosecutor's office was being set up. Barring the law or whatever, it still boils down to the same point. People were feeling that it was a mere duplication, replication of the same state institutions. Was that not the overarching?
On that note, I disagree with you, because you see, as a government, if you think that this is the path that I want to take. And on that path, there's a lacuna in the state institution as far as their mandates are concerned. You have every right to also review the law, or if you like, introduce another state agency and give it a legal backing. And that is what we did. It is different from what they are doing with oral. Number two, on the floor of Parliament, I have personally asked two very critical questions, which questions, one way or the other, unfortunately, has not been admitted or has not.
What are these questions? For the sake of time, I want us to be very quick.
The first question is that the Minister of Defense was supposed to come to the floor of Parliament and explain to the people of Ghana what Mr. Dapaah was doing in the house of the Honorable Finance Minister, former Finance Minister. Do you know that I was told that the question is not being admitted because Mr. Dapaah is not a public official? Secondly,
which contradicts what Dr.
Yes,
Aye
and secondly, why Mr. Ibrahim Mahama was driving the President of the Republic to a public function? I was told once again that that question cannot be answered by the Minister of Government Communications because Mr. Ibrahim Mahama, per parliamentary proceedings, is not a public official. And for that matter, that question cannot be answered. It actually...
I've heard concerns raised about Ibrahim Mahama driving his brother. What is the fundamental issue? I've heard talk about security and all of that, but why must this?
I wanted the Minister of Government Communications
be debated in Parliament.
Not debate. I mean, to get the Minister for Government Communications to explain to the Ghanaian people, because I know when you become a president of the Republic of Ghana, you are not a property of the state. There are people who are well trained to be doing that job for you. It is on that basis that today, when he is traveling until January 7th, when he was using his brother's personal private jet, or if you like using our or passenger, today he cannot do that again. And so we have every responsibility to make sure that we protect our president because he's our property. It is on that basis that I filed that question. And that question was not admitted because Mr. Ibrahim Mahama is not a public official.
Well, I guess you'd have to deal with that in Parliament, wouldn't you?
Of course, that's what I'm saying. That I mean, there are processes to make sure.
Right,
that,
so let the processes work. As for here,
but I just wanted to put that
there's not much we can do
perspective.
about that situation. Let's come to Edubuahene, Kwabena Edubuahene, and his wife Angela Ejay. So if you look at, I wouldn't call it the rap sheet. The Americans would want to use that term, but prima facie evidence that the AG put forward. He's said to have diverted $39.46 million into the private accounts of he himself, and his wife in a $7 million deal to purchase a cyber defense software. Then, while serving as the Director General of the BNC in 2018, he and his wife incorporated a private company with the name BNC Communications Bureau Limited, a name similar to the then BNC. Why the choice of name? Maybe the courts will tell. And then you look at the sums involved, the $7 million contract and how the money was expended. Then you look at the 49 million Ghana cedis. There's talk about the private BNC account at UMB, where these payments were made, purporting to be payments for the software for the state. And then the linkages between that estate in, is it Oyarifa, and the selling price at one point, $1 million paid cash down. At another point, $500,000 paid cash down. 27 houses in a gated estate at Oyarifa and some separate houses at Chado and its environs. And the story goes on and on. I'll start with you, Dr. Aye.
So that's fine.
What does this really mean? Because there are some who have poo-pooed this and said, I mean, this is nothing. There's nothing that can be written on to hang. And I use hang carefully, not in the actual sense. Edubuahene. But what does this say about the fight against corruption? And these revelations, how did you find them?
Of course, for me, I was extremely scandalized whilst the Attorney General was pouring through his speech. It goes a long way to reaffirm my long-held belief that the last 8 years of the MPP regime was an all-play, all free-for-all enterprise of sleaze, of graft, of unwanted, unbridled corruption, of deliberate dissipation and misapplication of public funds, if not diversion.
Those are some strong words to use based on one, event that seems to have quite a bit of meat to it. You can say all of this about the previous administration.
There are so many other ones that, if not because of time, I would have gone through it. But the fundamental point must be made that there is clear evidence here that a man who occupies a very sensitive position in our country, the National Signal Bureau, formerly the National Security Council agency, for me, he has the necessary credentials, highly educated. For a man of that caliber to allegedly, on the face of what we see, engage in this level of grafts, it can only tell how greedy some people are and why I say that there was a free-for-all enterprise for people to line their pockets with state kitty.
You call it graft, even before the courts have ruled on the matter. You are certain it is graft?
Yes, there can be no explanation why somebody who occupies such a position engages in a contract with an international company in Israel to a tune of $7 million, at the time 49 million Ghana cedis, to transfer 49 million Ghana cedis, not directly into the company that they actually entered into that contractual agreement with, but to his personal company. That smacks of huge conflict of interest.
And the interesting bit there is that the sum of money, the 27.1 million Ghana cedis, is moved from the state's BNC operations account to in UMB Bank.
Yes.
To a private BNC account, same name, which is a private account, same bank. Yes. But you go ahead. I'll pose that question to Vincent. What he thinks why probably that happened.
Is it not extremely suspicious? And when that happened, one would have expected that those monies will be directly transferred into ISC Holdings account, but it was transferred into the personal account for which he and his wife are directors, and not the 49 million Ghana cedis fully transferred. Only 9.5 million transferred, and the remaining used as fixed deposits, and some used for real estate investments for his personal use. That, for me, is one of the gravest misapplication and diversion of public funds that I have seen as a young person. No explanation can be made to this effect. You create an account that is extremely similar to the accounts of the entity that you lead as the director for National Signal Bureau. It has never happened for me.
Okay.
And if you look at...
I want you to land. Yes, we have limited time. I want you to land.
And yesterday, when the information broke, the people of Ghana are asking themselves, how can you do this to us? Within a short period of time, a young man has been able to accumulate this wealth. In which institution in Ghana do you work for 8 years and acquire over 37 houses to yourself?
Okay, hold for me.
How much salary
hold for me.
earn?
Kwabena Edu-Buahene may be able to justify his sources of income. We'll check those. Relax. We are not judges. The judges will...
But hold on. There's evidence to suggest that the person transferred money that is supposed to pay to ISC Holdings for real estate.
I am not disputing that. But before I go to Vincent Assafuah, let's look at Kwabena Edu-Buahene's lawyers and what they had to say on this matter. We'll splash it on your screen shortly. We'll take a look at exactly what they had to say, and then I'll come to Vincent with some questions, because it's also left me scratching my head. So let's please put that on the screens before I get to Vincent, and we'll get some answers on the back of this. But Vincent, when I come to you, what I want to find out is, even in getting back into the country, and there we have that statement. So, Eduwahin's lawyer's response, when a suspect is being investigated, okay, so let's just start from here. The power to investigate any Ghanaian for alleged criminal offences has not party colours. It is a painstaking exercise to ensure that the rights of citizens are not abused. Let's go to the next slide. Let's find out what is there. When a suspect is being investigated, he is entitled to bail for the simple reason that the investigating body cannot treat him as an individual already pronounced guilty by a court of competent jurisdiction. The criminal jurisprudence the world over frowns upon inquiry bail being used as an emotive, that is, you are adding emotion to it, weapon of punishment against persons. Let's go to the next slide. I just wanted to be very quick. We are shocked that at the press conference, the Attorney General was even entertaining himself with issues of plea bargaining when the statements of the suspects are yet to be taken. Next slide. On Thursday, the 20th of March, Mr. Kwabena Edubuahene arrived at Kotoka International Airport on a British Airways flight from the UK. It is totally false that he flew economy class to disguise himself, as the Attorney General was strenuously projecting it to be. Our client was in the business class, a fact which is easily verifiable. In today's Ghana, the AG is acutely aware he has violated the rights of our clients relating to the not more than 48-hour incarceration constitutional prescription, and tells the whole world he can play with the bail issues. This is interesting because in the past we've seen certain issues, and I guess it's different strokes for different folks. Next slide. Especially when you look at even Democracy Hub and that demonstration and how these people were kept. We are seeing through the dastardly agenda that led us in the court of public opinion besmear Kwabena and Angela with filth and guilt, and it goes on and on talking about propaganda. Let me come to Vincent on that point. First off, what the Attorney General said about the convoluted process of simply coming back to Ghana, Kwabena Edubuahene, from the UK and then Emirates and then rescinding the ticket, then coming with economy class and all of that. It's pretty interesting. So your side is saying that never happened. Just clarify for me.
Before I get there.
No, we don't have that much time. I want us to
what happened there. No, I'm not going to respond to
incisive, right.
What happened yesterday will have to be put into proper perspective.
Okay.
The Ghanaian people will also have to even understand what even transpired yesterday.
Right.
As to the legality or the basis for which the AG did that.
Can you do that for me in like 40 seconds?
It is important because it only allows Ghanaians to understand whether what he did has some legal legs or not. As a lawyer, there is the Legal Profession Act, which allows a prosecutor, or if you like, even the AG, to brief Ghanaians, but in doing so, it is regulated. And it is regulated under Rule 40 of the Legal Profession Act. Rule 40 is saying that, except for statements that are necessary to inform the public of the nature and extent of the action of the prosecutor, and that serves the legitimate law enforcement purpose. 1. The AG or the prosecutor should refrain from making extrajudicial comments that have a substantial likelihood of heightening public condemnation of the accused.
Right.
Public condemnation of the accused. Accused, emphasis mine. Accused is even different from suspect. Accused is when you have been charged by the AG or the prosecutor. And so what that means is that even as we speak, the AG, if on the basis of transparency, would want to go ahead and brief the people of Ghana, is supposed to be regulated by Rule 40 of the Legal Profession Act.
Are you saying that he flouted Rule 40 in terms of what he did yesterday? Where does the buck stop? Who determines where
that is
too
what I'm
far
saying.
is?
Okay, so too far is determined by Rule 40 of the legal professional saying that refrain from making extrajudicial comments that have substantial likelihood of heightening public condemnation of the accused. Today, even on this platform, my brother is already hanging, and you were even telling him he's already hanging Kwabena. I am not holding brief for Kwabena. In fact, until yesterday, I have not even heard of Kwabena. I don't even know him, even though he served as a CEO or Director General of my government. I don't even know Kwabena, and I will not ever hold brief for anybody who is found to be engaging in corruption.
Right.
On the face of it, prima facie, from what I have seen, it is scary. And I will not support anybody if these allegations are found to be true, that indeed you siphon state resources into your personal account. Nobody, especially like me, will never come to your defense. But procedurally, we need to make sure that we prosecute people but not persecute. Under the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, Chapter 5, which is the fundamental human rights of persons,
right,
do not pronounce people guilty
innocent until proven guilty. Right.
So you see, so you are supposed to be seen to be innocent before you are pronounced guilty. But what we are seeing in this country, and what the strategy that the NDC is using now, is for you to be guilty, pronounced guilty in the public domain before you have to even prove that you are innocent.
And the former president,
and that is shameful.
Often would talk about the rule of law.
I know Dr. Ayini very well.
Hold for me. The former president would talk about.
I'm very passionate about this
and
because
processes in his government and why some people were not. But moving away from all of that,
I wanted to end with this. I know Dr. Ayini very well. This is not Dr. Ayini I know.
This is not the Dr. Ayini you know.
Go and ask every senior MP.
What has changed?
I don't know. That's why I'm surprised, because this is not Dr. Ayini.
Okay.
I am thinking that there's a certain amount of pressure on him from his government, from his party, to find a way to hang MPP officials to disgrace the party. I am not sure that he's doing this out of his own volition. You
know what's interesting? The same was said of the former AG, Godfrey Adame, that he had also been given a charge to hang certain people, including Dr. Cecilia Dapaah.
Right.
It's interesting that now it has been turned the other way. But what you made reference of in respect of the charge when it comes to the AG, do you know what the OSP Act says and how it applies to the OSP?
What does it say?
I'm asking you.
No, tell me, what does it say?
Because in the end, if we are saying that is what applies to the AG, I'm just recalling that the OSP, on a number of occasions, whether it's that the Colonel who used to be with, was it Immigration or Customs, and La Bianca and all of those issues, how would you paint that?
This is an inquiry or investigation that is being done by the AG. The AG is regulated by Article 88 of the 1992 Constitution. The same Legal Profession Act is dealing with the AG or any prosecutor who is under the AG. My point is that if the AG would want to brief the public about what is happening with respect to any case or whatsoever,
right,
he should not do so to heighten public condemnation against the person.
All right. Let's make the most of the next 7-8 minutes, and then we can wrap the conversation. Before I come back to you, I'll give you ample time, Dr. Aye. On the face of it, you say what you see is scary, and the sort of wealth. Hopefully, Edubwa Ahime acquired that wealth through legitimate ways. Hopefully, he did. If unfortunately he didn't, then the law would have to deal with him. But how shocking is it for you that one person can amass all this wealth under the circumstances? Because then when you become a person of interest, when you become a politically exposed person, all of these things come up. Looking at the whole pirouette when it comes to finding his way back to Ghana, looking at the UMB account issues, looking at the purchases, as a member of parliament and as a Ghanaian, are you worried about these developments? Whether or not?
I am more than worried. I am more than worried because, see, assuming that these allegations that are made by the AG is anything to go by, assuming that you award a contract to yourself. One way or the other, money is paid into your account, then you pay a bit of it to the one who is actually supposed to perform the contract. And you think that I should not be worried. I am worried as a young person because it is my money. It is something that is supposed to be used in the developmental agenda of this country so that young people can benefit. And that is why I referred you to the current budget, where the government is saying that yes, we don't have money, and for that matter, we cannot even employ. But I am just saying that please let us hesitate slowly.
Let's hasten slowly. Right.
So that you don't hang people without even listening to them.
Right.
Cardinal among every criminal prosecution is for you to listen to the other side. Today, the person is not even accused, just a suspect.
All right. Thank
Why
you.
don't we take our time?
Thank you for this.
But this is scary.
And we must highlight.
If this is true, please, I'm warning party persons, MPP persons, in the event that this is proven that this is true, please don't go and defend this because we are building a nation.
Thank you for those thoughts. Then I nearly said OSP, then the Attorney General turns his attention to the NSS, the National Service Scheme, among others. In fact, there he says the investigations would conclude in the National Service Scheme and SkyTrain scandals. And then he goes on to mention certain amounts. He says, we also have evidence that in November 2024, the CEO and others paid a Ghanaian MP to kill the story in the media and to defend them. Again, your take on I'll take your reactions
on that.
Pardon me.
What's the legal basis in that? AG making this statement and an MP.
Is that another one of the assertions that you think shouldn't have been made?
Should be defined.
Okay, let me come to that.
Before I even
and the punishment,
I want to respond just about 30 seconds.
Hey,
the point is that he read at section 40 or some provisions. He said the comments of the Attorney General must not raise tensions against the accused. As we speak, the person is not accused. And in what
he mentions that he's
that's what I'm saying, that you should not even keep quiet.
Exactly. So the point is that yesterday we all listened to that. Exactly what has he said to push or to give finality to the matter. The person is being arraigned for.
He will talk about his assessment.
The person will have
that he believes this.
In fact, the Attorney General ordinarily would not have had this press conference, except for pressure being mounted on him from the MPP side that he's harassing them, he's enraging on the right. The Attorney General has made a public statement that he will not rush to court unless he has the facts and all the evidence available to ensure a conviction. And so the MPP's attempt to run him down and pretend as if he's doing something illegal is neither here nor there. He is focused, he's doing his investigations, he'll go to court very soon, as he rightfully said. In the middle of April, prosecutions will start for the SkyTrain and the National Service. Now, to come to the National Service matter, yesterday the Attorney General... So
you can just lump them together for the sake of time. National Service, SkyTrain,
of course,
all of that.
Of course. The Attorney General from the press conference yesterday, it does appear that there is overwhelming evidence to ensure that we get our monies back or secure a conviction. He said that for the National Service issue, about 8 people are being interrogated. And he, in his direct words, he said they are singing. They are singing means that they are actually, some of them
collaborating, they are cooperating.
Some of them are doing every effort to actually exonerate themselves from the matter. You understand? So they are singing and investigations are ongoing. For the SkyTrain matter, the Attorney General said the CEO has bolted with his tail in between his legs. He ran to South Africa.
Is it Senegal or South Africa?
Initially ran to South Africa, currently hiding somewhere in Senegal. All manner of measures and steps are being put in place.
I guess like in the case of Keno Foriata, it may be in his interest to come back into the jurisdiction.
Of course, but
and clear his name.
Of course, the fundamental point must be made to the understanding of the people of Ghana that we remain committed. We will go every extraordinary mile to make sure that accountability is exacted.
All right,
to make sure that every penny that has been diverted and stolen from the publicity will be returned to the people of Ghana for developmental projects to be made
All right.
The people of Ghana will
All right.
benefit.
The thing I'll end on with you, and it's not a question, is that it's rhetorical. As you oralize oral, and as you apply it, yes. So as you use oral as a yardstick, which is good. If members of your administration are found culpable, then you will not go and use Laura. You will use oral. You will not use Laura. You will use oral.
In fact, I can't say that Ore Fonsa no ashawde.
Okay.
Abaye the botechino. And one in Boba. He who comes with equity must come with clean hands. In fact, the Attorney General made it clear yesterday that members of his government who engage in corrupt activities will face the music. Just like Excellency the Vice President said during his
your time is up.
That you will face the music.
All right. Vincent, on those same points, I want you to, whatever reactions you have, but also add this for me. I'm a little, you said that you were all for fighting corruption, ensuring that anything that belongs to the state is recovered and all of that. Ekow Assafuah also comes out and points to some of the rot. And one area I want things to be really looked at is school feeding and some of what happened in there, including even COVID-19 and the feeding of people on the streets. Why then is your party impeding her? Per the Constitution, she has the freedom of speech to the point where people go and block her at her home and all of that. What's going on?
The fact that she has the freedom of speech doesn't mean that she can do things anyhow that will affect the image of the party. She is also not bad to give any information or whatsoever that she has to the AG or to any state institution that can investigate. And so let's get that very clear. Today, if Ekow Assafuah decides that I'm not going to speak on TV or radio, but I'm going to give information or to provide information to the AG, she's so well placed within the law to be able to do so. From what my brother just said, that they have the commitment, or from his side, they are committed in making sure that whoever have stolen from the state, wherever you are across the globe, you will be brought back to Ghana to face the law. Please, consistency's sake, start with Sedinam Tamakloe. Sedinam Tamakloe is not even under. She has been convicted of stealing from the state. She is not in the country. You people are quiet. Start from there. Let us know that indeed you have that commitment to make sure that people answer. People answer to the sins that they've committed against the state. Whilst I support that, I am also supporting you in dealing with anybody who has stolen from the state. Wherever they are across the globe, please do so. But in doing so, don't do cherry picking. People have already been convicted. You are not bringing them to investigate them. You are bringing them to come and serve their prison sentences. Please, you are in government now. This was one of your CEOs under your government who had to run away from this country without even standing trial, if I should put it that way, without even coming to court. But today that person has been convicted. You people are quiet about it. So if you are committed...
Which one are you speaking of? The master?
Sedinam Tamakloe. So if you are committed in dealing with people,
they must deal with that too,
they
right?
must also deal with that one. But I also support them.
Hold for me quickly. Hold for me. I'll come back to you. What's happening to...
of course.
If you can let your tentacles go this far, you must also be able to get Madam Tamakloe, who has been convicted, to come back into the country and account.
The Attorney General has made it clear that his government officials, who are members of his party, will also go through the same fire. They were in government.
No, but this person has gone through the fire already. Why can't we get her to be repatriated, be brought into the country for her to face the music, the consequences of her actions?
They stayed in power for 8 years and weren't able to bring it.
And that's why we voted.
So we just came in 2 months. What you couldn't do in 8 years, you expect the NDC government to do in 2 months. We are going every mile to HO. But that is a fact. That is a fact. If you spend 8 years...
We are not looking for the woman. We have not been looking for the woman in 8 years.
Please let him land for the sake of... I want us to.
The NDC government, just like the Attorney General said, is extremely committed to rein in all errant officials that engage in corruption, which the said individual you mentioned is part of.
Okay.
So we just came 2 months, and we are putting in place measures to ensure that the person is brought back.
Okay.
You have to recognize the efforts you are putting in place and all that.
We want to hear from the AG the same way we are hearing from him about things that he himself is not even sure. And when I say he's not even sure of, the court has not pronounced anything. The same way we are hearing from him, please let us hear from the AG on the Sedinam matter. 2, I have triggered an RTI request to him about the memos he himself mentioned that based on those memos, based on that to file a nolle prosequa. 14 days elapsed for the first request. He did not answer to it. He told me that he's not going to respond. I had a personal conversation with him. The second one, 15 days has also elapsed. He has also not responded. The law says that when you don't respond, it means a refusal. Yesterday, I wrote to RTI Commission. These are all things that ensure transparency. He cannot. That's why I'm saying that this is not the Attorney General I know. This is not the Dominic I know.
Vincent,
He's cherry picking.
I have seen, and you have shared some of those documents.
Yes, he's cherry picking.
Hold for
he
me.
should be able to make sure that if you are transparent about it, be transparent about it in all entirety.
I've seen some of those documents, yes. But you see, this is where I always say that, especially as legislators, you should support the right thing always.
Right.
Here at Multimedia, do you know how many requests we put during your administration, the past administration, and you simply refused, all institutions.
What did you do?
Relax.
What did you do about it?
In fact,
to
the extent where we went through the entirety of the processes. You remember the fourth estate when in the SML.
Tell me the process.
Relax. And in the SML situation, you remember when eventually some data was given them. Instead of giving them something on a hard drive, they were given tens of thousands or thousands of sheets of paper just to frustrate, to go and look through from the Ghana Airport Company Limited and applications. All I'm saying. And then in Parliament itself, ministers and others were prompted, called, come before Parliament and account. And people refused to do that.
It's not true
on many counts.
No.
So my charge to you is,
don't do that.
As you politicians, do these things.
No.
Always remember.
Yes, I'm denying
always
because
remember.
in Parliament,
hold for me.
When the minister is settled, the minister cannot say I will not come.
Should I deny what you are saying?
Dr. Aye, relax. As you do these things, you see, if you do the right thing yesterday and someone does the wrong thing today, you have every right to point to it. But if the wrong things have been done in the past, it's not a justification for another wrong to be done. But then it makes your matter. I
wasn't a minister. These things that you are saying.
No, I'm talking about people in the erstwhile administration and things that were done. So you are saying the right things, but let us continue with those right things. It's not that
no problem,
when it affects your people, it is
when the AG
right,
himself is now out,
wrong.
When the AG is now out saying all this, I expect him to, be holistic about his approach. He should not be picking on this one and decide to leave this one out. That is the point that I'm trying to make. I am saying that when an RTI request is given, like what you just said, there's a whole law that requires you to go through the full length of it to get whatever you want. And that is the point where I've got into. The point where I've got into is to now write to the RTI Commission, for the RTI Commission to now intervene and call upon the AG to respond to me or tell the RTI Commission why he's not responding to my request. Right. So I think that maybe you could have gone through that process.
Right.
However, I was not a minister at the time. I did not get notice of all these things that you are talking about. But in Parliament,
Let me see. Even when did you become a deputy minister?
That was around June or May there. But it was extra time.
And your process, extra time. You were those whose processes were held up because the minority did not approve you.
Doc has been given 4 years.
I remember.
I was given just 6 months.
Yeah. But you remember.
Okay, gentlemen. We have to go. We have to go. Final words. The people of Ghana. I don't know whether you also want to talk about the Black Stars and their new winning ways.
Of course.
But as you wrap up, what do you think is the way forward when it comes to fighting corruption in the country? 1 minute each. You can also add your thoughts on the Black Stars. Quickly, let's go.
The only way we can fight corruption is for the anti-corruption agencies to actually have the commitment and zeal to fight it. And I want to use this opportunity to commend Ekow and the Attorney General Department, but especially Ekow, for doing all these investigations, covertly, and ensuring that the people of Ghana have the opportunity to appreciate the issues going on. They did that without any public, press conferences and all that. I want to commend them for the work they are doing. Indeed, the Attorney General will gladly partner them and will exact accountability that at the end of the day, the overwhelming votes the people of Ghana gave us in the December 7, 2024 election, we will put it to good use and we will retrieve all the monies.
Okay, quickly, Black Stars, any thoughts? Quickly.
Oh, yesterday I was extremely happy. Surprisingly, the Black Stars, They are doing extremely well.
Team Naye,
Hey. Surprisingly, I don't know what is going on. I don't know what has happened. Maybe they have a new, I mean, I don't know whether the West.
Please speak up a bit more.
I don't know whether the West, His Excellency the President, gave them before their matches, sank deep into them, and they are thinking about how to make the His Excellency the President happy. But all in all, I think that the love for Black Stars is coming. I am happy about it. I'll be praying that.
All right.
We'll have the opportunity to be present at the World Cup so that all of us can cheer them on.
In the USA.
Yes.
Vincent,
Well,
final words.
I was on the pitch the day that we were playing Chad as the ranking
You went to
youth and
right,
sports in
right.
Parliament. And I remember telling them one thing, that in football, you cannot do away with concentration. You can be a professional, you can be one of the best players, but if you lose concentration, you're likely to miss it. I think that Asamoah Gyan reiterated this.
And I was just about to mention that it also appears, he's come back, he's talking to the team members, Jordan and others.
Absolutely.
I think it's having a positive impact.
Absolutely, it's having a positive impact. But you know that even before the Chad match, Ghana had played 4 matches, which we had 9 points out of the 12.
Indeed.
So it was not actually bad. If it was that bad, I don't think that we will.
But at that point, looking at the league log with Madagascar and the rest, it was pretty tight. It was after the last match that I think we went 2 points ahead, and now by beating Madagascar, we are 5 points ahead.
Yes, but it wasn't that bad. Of course, we had just lost. Let me say we had 9 points out of 12, which was not that bad. But I mean, I've seen the NDC trying to make it look as if it is because they are in power. Please, if you are not in power, I'm the ranking for youth and sports. Please let us know what you are going to do about the lesser sports as well. We have Black Challenge. We have all those. What do you call it?
Should I ask you what your administration did about them?
But they are trying to make it look as if we failed. And that's why they voted for.
We'll still have
Please make sure that we deal with all aspects of our.
I always like having politicians in the studio, Charlie. NDC MPP. But gentlemen, thank you for joining the conversation. Dr. Samuel, he says I should call you a spokesperson, government spokesperson.
Designation. I'm just working for God. Just making sure
I found a question. I'm sure you've seen it.
I've not seen it.
Oh, I found a question to fellas. I'm sure you'll see it.
Then I'm sure.
Yeah, he's a government spokesperson working in Felix Ofosu-Kwakye's office, handling 78 million Ghana.
Please.
He's a big man.
Please, Charlie, they have intel on you, so you have to.
It's not cheap. We all know. We all know. The minister made it clear that 78 million is GBC.
Dr. Samuel
ISD
is Dr. Samuel.
It's clear. Why are you spreading?
He's a government spokesperson. We also have Vincent Ekow Assafuah, the legislator for Old Tafo, Pankrono, Old Tafo. We're taking a breather. Don't you forget, this show is brought to you courtesy of Waylead Properties, and they have some interesting packages for you. We'll be telling you more about that later on the show. We take a breather. We'll be right back.